camera rolls on. The ratings are waiting on the next sensation. The camera rolls on. Tell me about the idea stuff.
Well, I listen to the radio. I like to stand in crowds and listen to people talk. You never know when they're going to come up with a great song title.
Right.
Don't even know it. They don't know it.
They're just talking, right?
Yeah. So we were coming to Scottsboro from our house. There used to be a ferry that crossed the Tennessee River, and Ira and I hadn't been down there in a good while, and we was going to Scottsboro. You top that mountain up there, and you can see there's a bridge there, huge bridge. So I just simply said, "I see a bridge." 30 minutes later, he handed me the song, "I See a Bridge."
Oh, wow. That is awesome.
So
So between the two of you guys, you were the idea guy.
yeah,
That's great.
sometimes he would say, he'd come to my house with his mandolin, and he'd say, "Get your guitar, I just wrote this song." And so he'd make what I discerned as being a D.
Right.
So I'd make a D on my guitar, and he'd kick it off. I don't know where he's going, but I knew him so well that that country music has its own pathway.
Yeah.
If you sing this way, it has to go that way next. And so I would follow him, singing the lead. I've never heard the melody yet, and he's singing the harmony. And if I missed it, he just wadded up, throw it in the trash can. And that ain't no good, I'll write another one. And so when he left, pissed off, because I was so dumb that I couldn't do that.
That sounds like me and my brother.
Then I'd pick it up and unwad it, iron it. 2 or 3 weeks later, I'd say, "All right, show me the tune that you had for this song." And then everything is fine. He'd sing it one time. He'd show me the tune.
Right, well, it's the only way you can know it.
That's right. But he was short-tempered. I've told this story a lot of times on our first meeting with the Real Wheels at WSM.
Right.
We auditioned a half a dozen times for Jim Denny. I found out all he was a stage manager. We were fixing to quit. We was working in Birmingham.
Yeah.
Honest to God, we was going to quit. The gospel was doing pretty good, but you didn't get no dates.
Right.
Unless you wanted to work churches. And we both felt that was too close to begging.
Right.
You know,
Right.
the preacher would say these boys could be up under the beer joint somewhere making big money.
Yeah.
And it's looky what you put in the plate. I'm going to pass this plate one more
Right.
time.
Right.
And it was begging, that's all
Right.
it was.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, I'm going to try one other thing before we quit. And so we didn't have a phone, but lost the phone. And I went out and found a payphone on the street. And I called Ken Nelson. I said, "Ken, do you know anybody at the Opry?" So he said, "I know the manager, Jack Stapp." And
That's great. Buddy's old boss.
I told him, I said, we're going. If we can get on the Opry, we feel that would change our lifestyle. And if we can't get on the Opry, we're going to quit. Would you call Mr. Stapp, since you know him? So he called Jack, and I don't know what Jack said, but it was probably negative. And Ken said, "Well, if you don't want them, the Ozark Jubilee does." I'd rather have them on the Opry than to have them in Springfield. And Jack said, no, we don't need nobody else deserting Nashville going to Springfield. So tell them they're on this Friday. That was on a Tuesday. Well, Ari's wife packed up and went back to Knoxville. That's where her folks lived. And my wife packed up. Each of us had one boy. And it was three of us. And Betty went back to Memphis where her family is. So we went to Nashville on a Friday morning on a bus because the girls had the cars. And finally found our way to 7th and Union. We used to do the Friday night show in the National Life building.
Oh, yeah.
On the 3rd or 4th floor.
Right.
And but we had to meet everybody. So we met Pelletieri. We met several secretaries, and finally we ended up, they carried us to Jim Denny's office. And of course he was just ignoring us. He'd say to his secretary, get me Carl Smith. Get me Webb Pierce.
Oh, that's funny.
Get me Minnie Pearl. And this went on, seemed like forever, but I guess it's about 10 minutes. We were just sitting there. So I stood up and I knew that his patience was gone.
It was.
He said, well, Mr. Denny, we'll see you tonight on the Friday night opera. Denny pulled his glasses down along here and looked over and said, boys, you're in tall timber. You better shit and get it. I said, well, we held the saws, Mr. Denny. Just show us where the woods are. And that just burnt Jim Denny up. And we were never classified as Jim Denny friends.
Right, from there on.
And he didn't like us either.
Yeah.
But thank God we didn't need him.
You didn't need him. Mm-mm.
But
What year was that?
1955.
Wow.
28th day of February is the first date we worked.
Wow. That's the last day of February.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it just, our release at that time was Love Thy Neighbor as Thyself.
And that's the one you played?
And, well, you go with your latest.
Right.
It was kind of like Homer and Jethro. You ask Homer and Jethro, what's your favorite song that you've ever done? And they'd say, our latest release. That's all they'd ever say.
It's funny.
But it's been good. I wouldn't have missed it for the world, but I had a good job at the post office, and while I was in Korea, I became a civil service regular, not just a temporary job, but the kind they couldn't fire you off of.
Oh.
So 10 years ago or 15 years ago, I could have been sitting on a creek bank drowned in redworms. But that wasn't the way it's supposed to be.
It didn't work out that way.
So it's been good, and there's been bad.
Yeah. And you know what?
I don't know anybody, whatever occupation you're in, you'll have ups and downs. And if you can't handle the downs, there'll never be another up.
Wow. I love that.
It's been a lot of pleasure to me. I hated more than anything to know that he was wiped out by a drunk driver.
Yeah.
And he had told his mom that when he got back from that date in Kansas City, he's going to buy him a tent and he's going to start preaching. A lot of people believes he was called to preach.
Right.
And so he lived a miserable life by passing on that.
Yeah.
But I think that the boss man upstairs knew he couldn't. He didn't have the strength to drop his drink.
Right.
And so I just take him while he's where he's at. And that's the only thing that I could. Because if I would have been driving, the wreck would have never happened. Maybe if he was driving, it wouldn't have happened.
Who was driving?
Man, Mr. Barksdale. Had he and his wife there. They had 3 young children, all of them under 8 years old. And he was driving, and I and his wife sitting in the back seat. And everybody got killed. All 6 of them.
Oh.
You've been watching a Ladak Productions presentation.